Wisdom of the Ancients. Episode 8. Hanging Out.
Mrs. Clary Jenkins is a tad frustrated. Her husband has a bad habit of hanging the wash, and as usual, the line looks untidy. Her husband has let the sheets drag on the ground, mismatched the socks, and has used the wrong colour pegs. Mr. Jenkins has also neglected to shake out the crumpled clothes, and worst of all, has hung the unmentionables on the outer line for the entire world to see. Mrs. Jenkins cannot leave the line in this state. It must be rehung. Since her time began, she has assisted the family with the washing, and looked forward to the day where she would champion her own line. Now, as a young wife and future mother, she takes great pride in the weekly wash. Mrs. Jenkins moves quickly to remove the undergarments and to rehang this poor example of line etiquette. Women's intimate things must be hung to the back of the line. Mrs. Jenkins knows that a successful housewife colour-codes the pegs. Mismatched pegs will attract the birds. Throughout the hanging of undergarments, it is best to check that degenerate neighbours are not feasting their eyes on the personals. The cautious housewife will move quickly to hang the smalls, thereby blocking the view of the underthings. Pegs come in all shapes, colours and sizes. All pegging out can be done from one spot. The Rotary Hoist is a labour-saving device and can be rotated with ease. Smalls should be grouped together. 2 matching pegs for each item is correct. The temptation to group handkerchiefs together should be avoided. We don't want hours of back-breaking ironing. Two pegs to each hanky is a must. Socks present special challenges for the busy housewife. They need extra attention and must be hung in pairs. They cannot be mismatched. They must be with their mate and definitely not inside out. They should be pegged by the toes. Mrs. Jenkins knows a lonely sock will not be alone for long. Its mate will return from sock limbo when the time is right. Shirts can be hung on clothes hangers to make ironing easier, but seams must run along the length of the hanger to keep the collar firm. Jeans should be hung inside out to help the pockets dry and to stop fading. Make sure the fly is zipped or buttoned to avoid the horrid fading triangle. Towels should not be joined like train carriages. Each towel needs 3 sturdy pegs to keep it in shape. Failure to do this will result in towels with rabbit ears and ultimately the housewife's worst nightmare, an untidy linen cupboard. Remember, 3 pegs for every towel. Sheets are the last item to be hung, but a word of warning. Sheets need to be folded over the line and ends joined to keep them in shape. They must never touch the ground. Many a knowledgeable housewife will also peg sheets at the base. The sheets now protect the complete wash from the crazed eyes of degenerate perverts. After the hanging out, the line is checked for last-minute adjustments. Mrs. Clary Jenkins knows a good line is also a happy line, and a happy line is a happy home. The line, now hung correctly, enjoys a full day in the sun. The line is watched regularly, but there is always time to prepare Mr. Jenkins a cup of tea. And he's not angry that his wife rehung the line. He's a sport, and that's what makes a happy family.